This next selection is so obvious. I mean, if Joe Long is going in, Josh Renel's coming right up his back. How many times did you see that during a football season? The big left tackle and Josh following him into the end zone. But Josh's career at Wayne State started a little differently. See, he was immediately thrust into a starting role. At that particular time, we had a veteran punt receiver. And he had all the skills to do everything that a good punt returner could do, except one. He couldn't catch the ball. So Coach Winters, being the National Coach of the Year that he was, after a few drops, decided, I'm going to insert my freshman running back from Rochester Adams. And the rest is what gets you into the Hall of Fame. He amassed 784 punt return yards in his career, which ranks third all time. And his punt return average of 11.7, that's the highest in Wayne State history. And that year, that freshman year when he was thrust into the starting lineup, he led the GLIAC in punt returns. When you think about his long career and all the games played and all the situations he was in, two stand out most prominently in my mind. The 2011 season. Wayne State was 6-1, and we were traveling to Hillsdale to play the Charger team that was 5-2. We had never, ever been to the playoffs. And in fact, the year before should have been, because we went 9-2, but we got snubbed for Hillsdale, who had beaten us during that regular season. So the game was critical. And of course, the people over at Hillsdale couldn't wait for Wayne State to get there. We led the whole game until the final 11 seconds when Hillsdale scored to tie it up at 14-14. The place went crazy. Now, if you don't have leaders on your team, you'll collapse. But after we huddled, they flipped a coin, and Hillsdale won the coin toss. Of course, the good strategy is let the other guys have the ball first, then we know what we have to do. And so Wayne State took the ball first. Josh Renel, first play, 10 yards. Josh Renel, second play, 9 yards. Josh Renel, third play, 4 yards. Josh Renel, fourth play, touchdown. I'm starting to think Coach Winters didn't have another play called anywhere. Anyway, they tied the score up, but then in the second possession, they get the ball first. And after the defense made some great stops, they kick a 49-yard field goal. The fans are going crazy, thinking that they've salvaged the game. Wayne State comes back out in the field. First play, Josh Renel, 8 yards. Second play, Josh Renel, 17 yards. Ball game over. Wayne State wins. I still remember the last play where I was standing. There was a big 79, and behind him there was a number 19. And it was like bodies were just falling all over the place, except those were wearing blue. That was also the game that Paul Winters became the all-time winningest coach in the history of Wayne State. And it propelled us into the playoffs. Josh finished his career with 2,726 rushing yards. But on top of that, he had 1,600 kickoff return yards, which was third all-time, and his kickoff return average of 25 yards per return is the third best in Wayne State history. He finished his career with 5,595 all-purpose yards, second only to a guy called Joyce Bell. You know, funny thing about Josh, almost didn't think he was going to end up at Wayne State. See, Coach Winters was convinced that because of his skill as a soccer athlete, he was going to choose soccer. It took his dad, who called Coach Winters one day and said, "Hey, are you going to recruit Josh?" And he says, "Well, I don't really think he wants to play football." Well, you have to know Dan Renel to appreciate how that conversation must have gone. But Coach Winter said, if he wants to come to Wayne State, you have him call me. He did. Coach Winter said it's the last time ever he questioned if Josh Renel wanted to be a Warrior. Today, there's no question he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Josh Renel.
I know Sean Belesian, who is unable to be here today, tells the story of our first playoff game at St. Cloud. And before the game, the assistant coach from St. Cloud came into the radio booth and asked if the offensive line was as good as people had commented that they were. And Sean informed the coach that, yeah, they were pretty good. And the coach knew right then it was going to be a long day for St. Cloud. So, Josh Renel, please come forward. Mr. Renel's citation reads in part, Josh Renel was a 4-year football letter winner, 2008 to 2011. A native of Rochester Hills, Michigan, Josh, the 2011-2012 Male Student-Athlete of the Year, ended his career with the highest punt return average in Wayne State history, while ranking second in all-purpose yards and punt return yards, third in rushing, fifth in rushing touchdowns, and tied for sixth in points. He started as a true freshman, leading the GLIAC in punt returns, and as a sophomore, was named honorable mention All-GLIAC as a return specialist. As a junior, Josh was a first-team All-American as an all-purpose back. That season, he was the only Division II player to record at least 2,000 all-purpose yards during the regular season. As a senior, he started all 16 games, earning first-team All-GLIAC honors, as well as All-American honors from both Football Gazette and D2 Football. He was the 2011 McAvoy Award recipient, which is given annually to the GLIAC football player who best combines outstanding character and leadership on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. Josh earned his marketing degree from Wayne State after being named to the academic honor roll all 8 semesters, including 4 terms above a 3.5. He was a 2-time GLIAC Commissioner's Award recipient and was a COSIDA first-team academic All-American as a senior. Governor O'Brien, President Wilson, Rob, it gives me great pleasure to present Mr. Josh Renel for induction into the Wayne State University Athletic Hall of Fame.
Quick disclaimer, I was told we had as much time as Rob did to talk, so I apologize if this goes long. Before I really do get started, I'm extremely blessed to be up here. I really am. I'm very grateful that God has put me in this position to be surrounded by all the people I have in my life. And I have to start with that because I mean that. And I also feel this is the appropriate time to give all the thanks that I need to the right people. And there's no one I could start with before Coach Winters. So, Coach Winters, I am starting with you because I truly wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. I have to tell you, thank you for taking a chance on an undersized soccer player, and really instead of looking at my physical stature, instead looking at what I feel like too often people overlook, and that's a person's grit and determination. I know I was coming in as a running back after we had a guy like Joique Bell that played in the NFL. And so I wasn't your prototypical power running back. But I blended what I learned from Joique, and I think it turned out all right. I kind of made it my own. I will say, though, Coach, I believe I ran over at least one player during my time here. So you can consider it a little bit of a power back. I have to give a quick thanks to my high school head coach who was unable to make it here, Coach Petrito. He taught me in my very first carry as a varsity football player, I fumbled. So that's a true story. First time ever against Clarkson High School, fumbled first time, never touched the ball the rest of that game. I was a sophomore then. but I need to bring this up because he taught me the importance of never being afraid to make a mistake. The next time I touched the football, it was a kick return the very next game, and I returned it for a touchdown. So I thank my coach, Petrito, from Rochester Adams, for that. All my WSU coaches, I know Coach Winters I already talked about, but Coach Wooster, who's here, and Trent Boykin, my running back coach my senior year that was here, Coach Heff, who Joe already alluded to, Coach Kaz, all of the coaches that were here during my time, Coach Mendoza. I took knowledge from each of you guys, whether you knew it or not, and I grew from it. You all dedicated so much time and energy, and there's so much of that I can honestly say it was not unforeseen. We noticed all the work the coaches put in. One coach I didn't mention, Coach Reardon, who's not here. I think I noticed him sleeping in our stadium a couple nights. I think he was a GA at the time. He had his own closet personalized to him. He might be there right now for all I know. But truly, the coach's efforts did not go unnoticed. Coach Harker, Joe, you already said it, but Coach Harker, Wayne State's extremely fortunate to have you back. You truly are Wayne State football's unsung hero. You instilled an attitude and a mindset that propelled our program to a new level. Thank you for challenging me every workout and changing the culture of Wayne State football for the better. Mike Chan, I'm glad you're here because you were in my speech. But same goes with Steve. You guys, thank you for treating all my injuries. I had quite a bit, and thank you for just keeping the locker room a fun place to be at. I got to say thanks to T. I don't think T is here, but I needed to thank him for giving me gloves as a freshman. I know that wasn't easy for him. I have to thank Jason Clark and Jeff Weiss. You guys do all the little things behind the scene for our football program. I saw Jason Clark literally this past season flipping burgers after a game for the team to come out after the locker room. Jeff Weiss, you always seem to find some kind of an obscure stat that would set our team apart. And I swear there was something like we set the Division II record for wins in a season by a team wearing a white uniform. And Rob Fournier, the football program and athletic department has no one more to thank than you for the growth for all of the programs. Your efforts have risen WSU athletics' reputation to new heights, and you continue to do so. And then my family. So many of them are here. My uncle literally, I think, snuck in through the back and came during dinner. And I just need to thank all of them for being here. Specifically, my mom and my dad and my brother, Matt. You guys all supported me from the very beginning. And I can't thank you guys enough. The youth sports, rah-rah soccer to Redskin football. You went to every game. You've been with me through all the good and the bad times. And you helped instill a work ethic in me to always strive to be the best in whatever it was I was doing. And whether it was schoolwork, athletic field, I still carry that competitive nature with me. And I have you guys to thank for it. And just now recently, just 3 weeks ago, my fiance, Annie, you may have never gotten the chance to see me play, but I know without a doubt you would have been my biggest cheerleader. I know when we first met, I told you I was competitive. I think after the first game of Monopoly, we went about 5 hours, and I refused to end the game until I was out of money. I think you got the clue there. But I do want to say, though, in all seriousness, Annie, thank you for sharing in my passion for football and WSU. It means the world to me. And Rob, I'm getting there. So I know we had 5 minutes, but I'm probably already past that. But I'm almost there. I've learned a lot during my time at Wayne State, but it really boils down to what I'm most grateful for, and it's the small joys in life. For those of you who don't know, our football team during my time here suffered unthinkable tragedies. We lost teammates far too young. They were so full of life and gone in the blink of an eye. These were the kind of tragedies that force everyone involved to reconsider what is most important in life. The entire WSU community was in this together. So if you've ever heard of the term family, I know Joe already said it, tossed around in football, Wayne State football truly embodied a family. You can't replicate the kind of raw emotion that we played with every time we took the field after everything that we went through. If it was ever allowed, I'd attest that both the 2010 and 2011 football teams are honored in Wayne State's Hall of Fame. To put it into perspective, there's been exactly 100 years as you've heard of Wayne State athletics, and only 2 teams have ever recorded 9 wins or more in a season. They were the 2010-2011 teams. And it was the 2011 team who not only made the NCAA playoffs for the first time in program history, but went on the improbable run to the national championship game. That season will be forever etched in the memories of those who experienced it. And I'd say it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but I truly don't think most college programs get to experience that. Now, to understand how I became the football player and man I am today, it's come from the various coaches, the various teams I've played for. But it's really to understand who I am. It's more of I'm not your super athlete. It's more of an inner drive to never give up on something that I love. I was an undersized football player, and I have Joe to thank me for that every practice that I saw him. But it was not only that I was undersized, but it always happened, as I alluded to, playing behind a future NFL player. I didn't really see significant playing time until more my junior and senior year. And even then, I knew it was going to be difficult to earn a starting position. It's very easy in sports, in life for that matter, to feel discouraged when things aren't going your way, or you're not getting what you feel you deserve. But if you ever doubt yourself, you've already lost. That kind of mindset is the type of person I am. I dedicated myself to putting in additional work when no one was watching, and eventually I was named a captain before our 2011 season, and I'm very proud of that. To me, the most important trait a leader can have is to have conviction in what they say and what they do. Because how can you expect someone to follow you if you don't practice what you preach? I see the state of sports today, and I'm baffled to see so many athletes and coaches and evaluators get so caught up in the eye test, when really the main feature to look for before anything else in a person is their will and their grit. I take those traits over anything. As I finished, I purposely left out my teammates or my thank yous because I want to thank them now. Those that are here, I share this honor with all of you, and I share with all my teammates that aren't here as well. The support you guys have shown is tremendous, and I know some have come far and wide to even be here. I'm up here because of the success of our team, truly. It was the best teams in Wayne State history we've ever seen in 100 years of Wayne State football. That's something that I hope all of you guys can